All right, let's talk about something pretty serious today. We're diving into the latest data on the state of global freedom. And, well, the news isn't great. The findings point to a real, sustained crisis for democracy all around the world. So, what's with this number, 18? Why is it so important? Well, according to the 2024 Freedom in the World report, this number, it represents 18 straight years that global freedom has been going downhill. Think about that. We're in an 18-year-long democratic recession.
So, an 18-year decline. What does that actually look like on the ground? Well, this isn't some slow-moving trend that's leveling off. No, in fact, what happened in 2023 shows things got worse, both in how many places were affected and how bad it got.
And just look at the numbers for last year. It's pretty lopsided. We're seeing 52 countries where things got worse for people's rights and freedoms, but only 21 where they actually improved. Just to be clear, when we say political rights, we mean your ability to actually have a say in your government. And civil liberties, that's your basic stuff. Freedom of speech, assembly, all that. So for every single country that saw an improvement, more than 2 went backwards. And that decline, it affected a fifth of the entire world's population in just 1 year. Wow.
So the big question is why? Why is this happening year after year? Well, the report zeroes in on 2 main culprits, 2 big drivers that are doing the most damage right now. First, you've got flawed elections, and second, you have the devastating impact of armed conflict, which is so often kicked off by authoritarian regimes.
Okay, let's break down that first one. Elections under attack. Turns out, messing with elections was one of the biggest reasons for the drop in freedom last year. And we're not talking about old-school ballot box stuffing here. Oh no, this is a much more sophisticated game to twist the democratic process at every single step. It's like there's a modern authoritarian playbook, you know? And here's how it works. Step 1, control who can even run. Make sure only approved candidates are on the ballot. Step 2, change the rules of the game while it's being played. Then Step 3, use the government's own resources, we're talking state media, public funds, to boost your own campaign. And the final, most brazen move? Just try to stop the actual winner from taking power. This literally happened in Guatemala. An anti-corruption candidate, Bernardo Arévalo, won the election, and the establishment tried everything in the book to block him from taking office. It's a seriously effective playbook because it preys on divisions and uses the power of the state to make a fair election almost impossible. And this right here, this is what's so damaging. Freedom House puts it perfectly. Trying to change the results after the votes are in is an especially dangerous game. And why is that? It's simple, really. It sends a crystal clear message to every single voter: your voice doesn't matter. Your choice is irrelevant. And that just guts the entire foundation of a democratic system. This leads us right into that second major driver we mentioned: armed conflict and conquest. It's pretty straightforward, sadly. All around the globe, violent conflicts, often kicked off by aggressive authoritarian leaders, are causing unimaginable death and destruction. And they're just wiping out freedom from millions of people. And the scale of the impact here is just staggering. I mean, look at Nagorno-Karabakh. It saw its freedom score plummet by 40 points, a 40-point drop. That's almost unheard of. It happened after Azerbaijan's military offensive basically forced the entire ethnic Armenian population to flee their homes. Or take Niger. Its score dropped 18 points after a military coup threw out the elected government. It's just another example in this really worrying wave of coups we've been seeing in that part of Africa. So when you take all these individual stories, these coups, these conflicts, these rigged elections, and you zoom out to see the big picture, this is what it looks like. Right now, a shocking 38% of everyone on the planet lives in a country that's considered not free. That's the highest that number has been in decades. And on the flip side, only 20%, just 1/5 of us, live in free countries. You know, when you see numbers like that, it really makes you stop and think. It forces you to ask a pretty fundamental question. When we talk about democracy and freedom, what are we actually talking about? What is it at its core that's at stake here?
Because, really, democracy is so much more than just voting every few years. At its heart, it's a system that needs 3 things to work. First, the idea of upward control. That means power flows from the people, up, not the other way around. Second, political equality, the idea that every person's voice matters. And third, you need the social norms, you need the rule of law, to actually protect and enforce those first 2 ideas. Without all 3, the whole thing falls apart.
And it's wild to think that this system we talk about wasn't always a thing. It was born out of this huge philosophical debate, really a battle of ideas. On one side, you had guys like Thomas Hobbes. He basically said, life without a powerful ruler is terrible, nasty, brutish, and short, so people should just give up all their rights to a king in exchange for safety. But then, along came John Locke, and he completely flipped the script. He argued, no, people have rights that can't be taken away. Life, liberty, property. And a government is only legit if it rules with the consent of the governed. That single idea, that's the bedrock of pretty much every liberal democracy on the planet today.
Which brings us right back to today, right back to 2024, because this year, that very idea, consent of the governed, is about to be tested like never before, all across the globe.
And I mean, the stakes just could not be higher. Think about it. From India to the United States to the European Parliament, this year, something like half of the entire world's population is going to the polls. It is a massive, monumental test for this whole struggle for freedom we've been talking about.
But it's not going to be easy. These elections are walking into a total minefield of modern-day threats. We're talking about everything from AI-powered disinformation campaigns to the harassment and intimidation of the people who actually run the elections. You've got widespread voter apathy. You've got brazen attempts to undermine the results before they're even in. And yeah, of course, you've got foreign powers trying to meddle.
So all of this leaves us with one huge hanging question. In a year with a record number of elections, more people voting than ever before in history, is this the year we finally turn the tide? Can we actually reverse this 18-year decline? Or will this year just expose how fragile freedom really is in the 21st century? The truth is, we don't know the answer yet. It's being decided right now.